Yep.
Okay. So my question to y'all is, reps are known for their high energy and being welcoming for new members. Okay. How are you going to engage with someone who isn't really on that level yet? Y'all want me to repeat the question? Okay. So reps are known for their high energy and being very welcoming for new members. How are you going to engage with someone who isn't really on that high energy level yet, or someone who's more soft-spoken and reserved?
I could go first. At least for me personally, because from experience, I was that person. Honestly, just keep on giving that energy and making sure that they feel welcomed and comfortable in their space. To know, like, it's okay to be soft-spoken, but eventually, like, your comfortability will start to show, and maybe you will start getting that, like, high energy level that each rep has been showing throughout, like, the years I've seen.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Jess. I was also that shy person before. As I said in my speech, first gen was really scary to me because there's a lot of people that I don't know. And as a Kasama rep, I would just be that person who is encouraging and inviting towards anyone, especially those who are shy. Because Kasama really offers a lot, and other people can learn about our culture even more. And if they want to stay, then that's really good. I did my job. But if they don't, then that's okay too. We're all different people. And yeah, I would just be that voice that's encouraging and welcoming to every person.
So I know a lot of people who are that introverted, shy type. In my ASL class alone, I've talked to or signed to 3 different people who I asked, or ethically they're Filipino, and I've asked them, oh, are you involved in Kasamahan? And they would say, oh no, it seems, I'm a little shy and it seems, very intimidating. And I think it's a common conception that Filipinos are loud and all and big and open about that. But I just want to, how do I phrase this? I want to cater events to those type of people and try to hear from them on what they want to see in Kasamahan, because for them, I feel like for people who aren't as open, they want to try to find something that eases them into participation within Kasamahan. So just hearing from them and showcasing events that can be a little like the first door into Kasamahan, and which can help them balloon into more participation and be more open to coming to events.
I also agree. Was a very shy person, hence why I joined this year. But I feel like as a Kasama rep, your job is to make those personal connections with people and make them feel included, even if they aren't loud and like passionate like everybody else is. I know it's there inside, and it can come out as long as they feel comfortable in that space. And again, with personal connections, like I kind of really joined because our second year rep, Lindsay, encouraged me to join. Like personally, she told me about it at clinical, and I was like, okay, man, I'll show up for first gen. And that really inspired me. And I just feel like reaching out to, obviously I can't reach out to everybody. Our class is like really big, but I feel like seeing the people in the back who are more shy and like just going to approach them and make them feel welcome and address any fears or concerns they have would help them feel a lot better in this space.
Yeah.
This is a question from Imran, our third-year rep who did not meet today. As a board member, you are also responsible for upholding all the pillars of Kasamahan. However, there might be other directors who cover more pillars than others. From planning larger interclass events that are particularly social, for example, Kasama Prom and Metropolitan, how will you, as a Kasama rep, still make sure to uphold all the pillars and create opportunities for members to form relationships, learn about culture, create pre-professional opportunities, and be an advocate for the Philadelphia community at USF?
I can go. Firstly, I would uphold the cultural pillar and work with our new position, Cultural Relations Director and the PCN Director, to host more cultural workshops and especially during PAM and PCN season, it's really important for not just fourth year Kasamas, but for everyone to learn about our rich Filipino culture. And yeah, for the social aspect, working with the activities co-directors, and creating more fun, bonding social events off campus and on campus, like previously loved events like karaoke nights and PCN cast bonding events. Pre-professionally, I would work with Daro to host more LinkedIn workshops, and I know that in the past it was planned to, or the Daro planned to work with the Career Services Center here at USF. So I want to bring that to life next year because us graduating seniors need the proper tools for our post-college careers, so it's really important for us to be prepared for that.
I wrote in my platform, I had an idea to maybe explore class-specific Slack channels to maybe have a more personal connection with all of people within the class, and that way we can send out specific resources to our class, and each of them can uphold each of the pillars. So like for cultural, we would send out resources that the CPAC committee may have put together, and academic and pre-professional, I can send out academic resources, maybe stuff specific to our class. So like junior year is getting close to graduating, but not just there yet. Social pillar, promoting all the events, like not just some members don't just see it through the Instagram post, but they hear someone personally tell them about it to go. And then the community and political one, again with like PCN stuff and CPAC stuff, like just sending out those resources, they would help them.
I could go next. At least personally for me, being a second year rep doesn't necessarily mean within the confines of Kasamahan. Like it doesn't have to be in events that you're being a second year rep. It's outside of Kasamahan as well, that you're promoting all of these events, just being there for your peers, being there for anyone who is part of Kasamahan, and just being the communicator that everyone should need, and everyone that to find out more about cultural events. And that just covers like the social pillar, and it doesn't have to confine within Kasamahan itself, because after all, the people in Kasamahan are people you see throughout your daily, like going on campus, like going to classes, and it's not just confined to these events that you go to just for Kasamahan.
So in terms of the cultural pillar, I want to kind of serve as a segue into second year students and all students to coming to those cultural workshops. I admire how before most events there's usually a presentation or a spiel behind the cultural significance of the events we're throwing, and I just want to, for all events that I were to be a part of, I'd want that to be a staple of it. I'd want to talk about why, I don't know, karaoke is a big thing in the Philippines, basketball is a big thing in the Philippines, why we love ube so much, just emphasizing that cultural significance, and hopefully that serves as kind of a segue to coming to cultural workshops. The academic and pre-professional pillar, outside of working with Daro, I do believe that for whatever background you come from, whatever major you come from, there is a spot here on campus, there is an on-campus activity, opportunity for you to step into that professional experience. Like, I currently intern for USF Athletics, and that's what I want to get into later on. And I feel like that there's an opportunity for all majors to step into that pre-professional field of their study here, choice of study here. With the social pillar, I want to make sure that those who are intimidated by our events, if they are more introverted, more shy, that there's an event for you. There's an event for everyone to kind of find their footing in Kasamahan. And with CPAC, I have to admit, I am not the most knowledgeable of what's going on in the political climates and the Philippine community here and in the Philippines. But I feel like that will just help me and push me to learn more about it through CPAC, and that will also push me to make sure that the second-year students can also learn what I'm learning and learn what's going on, not only in the Philippines but throughout all Filipino communities here.
How do you plan to maintain communication with your class? For example, if you as a rep had a question for your class and want their opinion, considering Slack isn't used often and you may not encounter your class as often as you'd like.
For this one, I had an idea of creating a monthly Google form to send out to my class via email or Slack or whatever is the most preferred communication. But these would be like monthly check-ins. I could ask about like how they feel in regards to like feeling like their voices are heard in the event plannings, and like how they feel about being comfortable in Kasamahan. Do they feel welcome? Do they have any issues with anybody in their class? Like, do they feel okay? I feel like this would be a great way to communicate and see how people are feeling. And also for our event planning, since I know that KasamaReps have to plan some events, this could help me get a good idea of what people actually want rather than just making a decision on my own.
I can go next. So building off that Google form point, before every event, before every PCN practice here, there's always a sign in and a sign out. And in order to, if there's something in the mind of a fellow Kasama, like we could have a question on the end of that Google form asking for feedback on, or if there's anything on their mind, just telling us what their thoughts are on either a specific event or something they want to see. And you could also utilize that to, if you have a question that doesn't have to do with that event that happened, just a separate question underneath saying, oh, how would you feel about da-da-da, and just have that on that Google form. Another thing you could utilize is a mass message platform outside of Slack, like something like Remind, where it's more of a sign-up thing. You just put in your phone number if you want to, and then you would get messages from us whenever whenever we'd have something for you, and it's completely optional, and you can opt out of it, and just an easy way to reach a wide amount of people.
Hi, Alex. So building off their ideas, those are great ways to also communicate with your peers as well. I also know, like, through communication, through knowing your own second years as well, by just texting them, letting them know to spread the word throughout all the second years as well. That verbal communication between all of them will eventually get the word through of like any concerns or opinions that need to be addressed to second year rep.
I also agree with everyone. Utilizing Google Forms is really effective. I know that you said that Slack is not as effective and not a lot of people check Slack. So utilizing Google Forms for feedback, for checking in with people, but also being there in events and checking in with people generally with how you're doing and how I'm doing as a Kasama rep, and what I need to do for them to meet their needs as a person.
Okay, this question is from Joel Dorfnesia. She'll be there later, but she's on duty right now, so she sent me all her questions. This is kind of long, but she said, as someone who has been Kasama rep in the past, there have been times where I felt invaluable to board because of all the extra time I had outside of my class events, Kasama prom, etc. So like pretty much you would feel a lot of imposter syndrome, and sometimes I would sit in meetings and have nothing to really report back. So how do you plan on combating this issue if similar feelings were to arise? And what are ways that you can continue to show up for Kasamas that extend beyond your constitutional roles as a rep?
As a member of several committees, I've seen like each board member do their own thing, but also delegating tasks to everybody and seeing how that plays out between the board members and their committee members and membership. And it's really interesting to see it all tied together during the board meetings when everybody reports how their committees have been doing. I think that it would be great for a Kasama rep as for me to be involved in as many committees as possible, and also encourage members to be involved in committees, so it feels like there's a sense of unity and everybody understanding what's going on together, and being able, and if you're in a lot of committees, you can see how that all plays out between members and the board, and you can report that back at board meetings. Yeah.
Go next. So I think that transparency is a big trait of leadership, and just being able to be open with the other e-board members. And not only do I not want to feel like I'm not doing anything, I don't want my fellow e-board members to feel like I am slacking. So just having open communication about, if I don't have a big task going on, like I can be an extra number if you need help with anything, or if any committee heads need help, need an extra head in doing their tasks. Yeah.
I also agree with Josh, but I do also know that I know imposter syndrome is a very big thing amongst everyone. It's not just like you yourself feeling it, like anyone could feel it in the room. And as Josh said, the open transparency within talking of that, like not keeping it to yourself, being able to be open and vulnerable to the people around you, to make you not feel like you're useless in those situations in e-board and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. Yeah, I would serve as an aide to other executive board members. For example, PCN director, I know that the schedule for spring semester is really heavy on them and the committee. So I would just be I would be a lending hand to the committee, whether that be collecting points or checking attendances, working with DOM for Kate season and checking the membership points. I would just be that lending hand to any board member that needs my help. And also, I talked about it in my platform, establishing transparent communication with my class and board is really important, because I will be that bridge that is useful for my class to be that connection to board and what they need in general. So yeah, I know that Jewel talked about having imposter syndrome, but I know that everyone on board, not just the KasamaReps, are valuable, so I'd like to just say that.
Last question.
Roman 8, people are drawn to running for e-board because of their positive experiences with the Kasama community. As a Kasama rep, you represent and serve your community of peers within the academic year. What experiences with your fellow peers in your year led you to running for the Kasama rep role? What motivates you to take the role? And how does being on the executive board allow you to serve your community in a way that you wouldn't be able to as a journalist?
I go first. So like I said in my speech, how I wanted to be what board was for me, that dodgeball event, being the one with open arms and being welcoming. And my reasoning for running for board is that I seen like all the hard work that's been put into many events and many of these like exciting and looking forward to events, and just a satisfaction of seeing everyone enjoying themselves with something that you created amongst your peers, as like a way for like, let's say like Kasamahan or anyone who comes in to these events to either like just like for once get away from school and just enjoy themselves for the night or for the day.
I know that e-board can be really demanding, and I know that some members of e-board can feel burnt out throughout the year, and that they're putting a lot of effort into event planning, and I know how hard that is. And I really want to be a support for e-board, because as a member, I can see when events are like difficult and like people are working really hard and like they can't even enjoy the events themselves if they're so busy running around trying to manage it. And I really don't want to have that for any e-board members. I want to be a support for them. and aid them in any way. So I want us all to feel relaxed and comfortable to be on board. And yeah.
I guess an experience that really pushed me to run for board was last year's PCN run-throughs. I know that everyone, not just members, but especially executive board, were so stressed. We're going through a lot, but they were still very welcoming, and they're still very open to listening and whatever I need to talk to them about. I think that's really important, and that's what I want to do as a KasamaRep, is to just be an open ear. And I know that before you are on board, you are a member first. And yeah, you are a member first, and you just need to be that open ear for your class to talk to. And that's really important as a board member.
One experience for me that I think drove me to run was fall PCN symposium. And that I saw a lot of people within my class who I've only walked past them, or I was only sitting next to them at like a general meeting or an event, really letting out their, like, I don't want to say inner self, but letting their goofy side out. Like we had the little skit workshop where I saw a lot of people just, I've never seen those people like that, and just being on e-board will allow me to take in all the wonderful the thoughts and feelings of all these wonderful people, and try to create events for them that that will allow them like an escape from the stress of being a college student.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
Oftentimes, KasamaReps collaborate on events altogether. How do you plan on ensuring that you are effectively communicating with one another and keep an open line of communication without leaving anyone out of the loop?
I know that in the past, also talking to Fred, being that fourth year, being the oldest one out of all the reps, it was kind of your unassigned task to coordinate with the other reps, establish that transparent communication once again, and being open to each other is really important when working as a team. But I want to say that even though I am the oldest, we still have the same responsibilities. We have equal leadership. So that's really important when we're working together, if we're planning events like Kasama Prom. And it's really important that we all share our ideas together and not just, and assign our own responsibilities with one another. And it should be really balanced with everyone on the team.
I can go next. So the first thing I want to do is overall just build towards that transparency and comfortability with the KasamaReps. Just get to know them more, like when early on, so that later on, when there are conflicts that are brought up, we're comfortable with expressing however we feel about it, and just making sure that there aren't nobody has like inner thoughts that they aren't able to let out. So just establishing that sense of openness, transparency, and comfortability with one another.
Yeah, I agree with both of them. I think that communication is always key. And to know that it's not, to know it's okay to ask questions and to communicate with others even when you feel slightly confused or not unsure. It's always great to ask questions amongst the other e-board members, and keeping that transparency and communication to make sure that everyone is being heard, everyone is being thought of, and it all works as like a collaborative effort.
All KasamaReps are a team. We're all supposed to work together, and we're all equals in putting our effort towards creating and executing events. And I think it's important that we hold each other accountable, and that hopefully that we would have proper bonding before getting into our event plannings, so that we're comfortable enough with holding each other accountable. Like if we notice one of us is slacking off, just like nicely bring it up. Yeah, just like being comfortable with each other, to be honest about how we feel about their work effort, and hopefully if we all like each other, we would all be willing to pitch in the same effort and do a good job.